All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about vision boards, but probably not in the way you're thinking. Forget all that magical wish granting stuff. We're going to look at this as a real, practical tool, like a blueprint for designing the life you actually want to live.
And that really brings up a huge question, right? Can you actually design your life? Some people are kind of like, hey, whatever happens, happens. But then there's this other group of people, the ones who believe, nope, I'm going to be the one to make things happen. This is for that second group, for the designers. So, right off the bat, let's be super clear. This is not about magic or just passively wishing for things to fall in your lap. We are completely leaving superstition at the door and we're focusing on the actual science. This is about being an active designer of your life using a method that's actually been proven to work because of how our brains are wired. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the vision board as a life blueprint. Then we'll dive right into the science of how it all works. After that, we'll look at the common reasons they fail, then show you exactly how to build one that works, and finally, how to make that vision a reality. Okay, so what is a vision board really? First, I want you to completely forget about that arts and crafts project you might have done back in school. Think of this as more like the final project for the school of life. And the grade you get? Well, that's the future you end up building for yourself. And look, this is not some weird fringe idea. This exact kind of thing, in different forms, has been like a secret weapon for some of the biggest names out there. You've probably heard the story about Jim Carrey, right? He literally wrote himself a check for $10 million long before he was a big star. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, he used to visualize every single muscle fiber growing while he was working out. The point is, this is a tool that champions use. So, at the end of the day, what are we talking about? A vision board isn't just one simple thing. It's more like a powerful cocktail of proven psychological tricks. It's a physical, tangible thing that pulls together visualization, positive affirmations, and focused intention, all into one super effective tool. All right, let's get into the good stuff, the science. How can just looking at some pictures on a board actually change anything in your real life? Sounds a little out there, right? Well, the answer isn't magic, it's neuroscience. I want you to think about it like this. You know that enormous, mind-blowing film set for the movie Bahubali? That didn't just appear out of thin air. It started as 1,500 sketches on paper. Every single great creation, whether it's a skyscraper or a smartphone, starts with a blueprint. So why should your life, which is, let's be honest, the most important project you will ever work on, be any different? The absolute core scientific idea that makes all of this work is called neuroplasticity. It's this incredible, almost unbelievable ability our brains have to physically change and reorganize themselves based on what we think and experience. And here's the part that'll blow your mind. Your brain often has no idea what's real and what's just vividly imagined. It can't tell the difference. Okay, let's make that even simpler. Imagine your brain is like an empty field. When you have a new thought about your future, that's like planting a tiny seed in that field. And every single day that you visualize that goal, you're watering that seed. And over time, what happens? Your brain physically builds new connections, new pathways, and that little seed grows into a real plant. You are literally, physically restructuring your brain to match your goals. And listen, this isn't just a nice idea. They've actually seen this happen in labs. A study at University College London found that when people vividly imagined an image, the exact same parts of their brains lit up as when they were actually looking at the real thing. This is huge. It proves that on a brain level, a strong, focused imagination starts to become your reality. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. If this is so powerful, then why do so many vision boards just end up collecting dust in a corner? Well, it almost always comes down to two very common mistakes. But the good news is, they're totally avoidable. And just knowing what they are is half the battle. Mistake number one, setting goals that are just impossible. There's a sweet spot, right? You have your current reality. Then you have a goal that's ambitious, but it feels possible. That's motivating. But when you set a goal so big, it goes into what we can call the subconscious rebellion zone. Your brain basically looks at that and goes, yeah, right, no way, because it knows it's not possible, at least not right now. So this rebellion effect is a real thing. See, a goal that feels believable gives you a clear path. It motivates you. But a goal that's way, way out there just creates stress and anxiety. Your subconscious mind starts to fight back, and suddenly the goal is a source of pressure, not inspiration. The key here is that the goal has to feel believable to be achievable. Now for the second big mistake, and this one is crucial, it's all about forgetting the feeling.
I want you to think back to when you were a kid and there was that one thing you wanted more than anything. Maybe it was a bike. You weren't desperate, right? You were fueled by this incredible feeling of hope and excitement, just imagining yourself riding that bike. That feeling, that is the secret ingredient.
So, mistake number 2 is a total lack of emotional connection. Here's the best way to think about it. Your brain is a radio station. If you want to receive the signal of success, you have to tune into the right frequency. And what's that frequency? It's the feeling of already having what you want. If you just glue some pictures to a board without actually feeling that excitement, that joy, that deep belief, well, then it's just a pretty decoration. You have to feel it to make it real.
All right, we've covered the science, we've talked about what not to do. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's get practical and actually build this blueprint.
The most important part of a really great blueprint is balance. You can't just focus on one thing, like making a ton of money. You want to design a complete whole life. So think about these 6 key areas: your career, your relationships, your health, your personal growth, your finances, and what you give back to society. This is how you build a life that's not just successful, but truly fulfilling. Okay, next up, you need a power statement, a personal mantra. This is your anchor. Think about it. Shah Rukh Khan's was, "I am the best." Muhammad Ali's was, "I am the greatest." But yours doesn't have to be like that. It could be something like, "Enjoy the journey," or "Humble mind, elevated thinking." It just needs to be a constant reminder of the person you're choosing to be. Okay, you've built the board. It looks amazing. But now comes the most important part of all. You have to activate it. This is the step that turns it from a static poster on your wall into a dynamic, living tool for change. And it's really simple. Here's your activation checklist, just 3 steps. First, put it somewhere you absolutely cannot miss it, like right across from your bed so it's the first and last thing you see every day. Second, and this is key, don't just glance at it. You have to take a few minutes to really, truly feel the emotions of having those things. And third, check in with it every month. Ask yourself, are these goals still lighting me up? And hey, if they're not, don't be afraid to change it. You're allowed to grow. So, there you have it. A vision board isn't some kind of magic wand. It's a blueprint. It's a real practical tool that uses your brain's own incredible power to rewire itself for success. At the end of the day, you are the architect of your own life. Your blueprint is ready. The only question left is, what's the first piece you're going to add?